Now, motion under constant acceleration. Here we will discuss the motion of particle when acceleration is constant. There is two type of motion, one where the acceleration is constant and the other when acceleration is variable, which we will discuss later. If A is constant, now listen, if A is constant, we can say A is dV by dt, that is equal to rate of change of velocity. So from here I can write dV, that is equal to dV comes out to be A into dt, which I have already written here. dV is equal to A dt, where A is constant, because this A is constant, so I can, after integration, I will get V, that is equal to U plus A into T, because U is the initial velocity of the particle. Here I have got the initial integration constant C. dV, integration of this dV is V, which is equal to U plus some constant C. At t is equal to 0, the velocity of the particle at that instant is called initial velocity. So in this situation, C is equal to U. So if we substitute the value of C here, we get V is equal to U plus AT. And this is called the first equation of motion when acceleration of the particle is constant. This is the first equation. Now the next is, as we know, V, that is equal to ds by dt, that is the rate of change of displacement, which is also equal to U plus AT, which gives us, S on integration we get ds is equal to U into dt plus A into t into dt. On integration, we know, on integration of this ds we get S, which is equal to U into t plus half it. This is the displacement of the particle, and that is equal to the final position vector minus initial position vector. This equation is called second equation of motion under constant acceleration. Now from these two equations, if we eliminate from V is equal to U plus AT and S is equal to UT plus half AT square, if I eliminate time from these two expressions, then I get a equation which is equal to V dot V, that is equal to U dot U plus twice A dot S. This is called third equation of motion, which is also known as V square is equal to U square plus twice AS. This is the third equation of motion. The three equation of motion means V is equal to U plus AT, S is equal to UT plus half AT square, and V square is equal to U square plus twice AS is valid only when acceleration of the particle is constant. Apart from these three equations, there is one more equation known as the displacement in nth second. So we can say the displacement in nth second is also equal to the displacement in n second minus displacement in n minus 1 second. Means if a particle starts from here, so we can say this is the displacement in n second and this is the displacement in n minus 1 second. So this is the displacement in nth second. This is the displacement in nth second. From here we can say the displacement in n second Sn, that is equal to un plus 1 by 2a into n square, because in place of time I can substitute n here. And in the same way, if I substitute n minus 1 here, in place of t I have to substitute n minus 1, then I get u into n minus 1 minus 1 by 2 a into n minus 1 square. So solving this, we get the displacement in nth second is u plus a by 2 into 2n minus 1. So this is also equation when a is, it is true only when a is constant. Otherwise this is not true. Now I am showing you a video for constant acceleration. If the velocity of the particle is constant, what happen? See, watch this car. This car is moving with a constant speed v0. This car is moving with a constant speed v0. So its acceleration is 0. I will repeat it again. Watch the motion of this car. This car is moving with constant speed on a horizontal road. It is one-dimensional motion. In this situation, the acceleration of the car is 0. So it will continue moving with same speed. Watch the motion of this bus. As the bus is moving, its speed is continuously increasing. This is an example of uniformly accelerated motion. Watch it again. The speed is continuously increasing. If you watch this ball, falling ball, you can see the ball is moving under constant acceleration g. Here, the acceleration is acting vertically downward. This is also example. This is motion under gravity. Here, acceleration due to gravity is g, which is acting downward and which is pulling the ball with uniform acceleration. So, as you are seeing the locus of this ball, it is a straight line. It again, see again. So, as I release this ball, it moves. Now, this ball travel different distance. Watch this video again. As I release this ball, now what happened when I throw a particle? Now watch the motion of this particle, this ball. When I throw this ball upward, it goes upward, but since the acceleration due to gravity is acting downward, it again falls back. If I throw it again with some more speed, then it goes somewhat more height, stop here. This is the maximum height attained by the ball. It falls downward. Under this is accelerated motion. This is also accelerated motion under gravity. After watching this video, now we are going to discuss some fundamental question based on uniformly accelerated motion. The first question is, a car travel a distance s on a straight road in 2 hours and then come to the starting point in the next 3 hours. Find its average velocity. Suppose this car starts moving in this direction. It travel for 2 hours. And from here it goes back to its starting point in the next time, that is equal to t2, which is equal to 3 hours. So the total time taken by the car is t1 plus t2, and this is equal to 5 hours. But since the car is at its starting point, the car is at the starting point, so the displacement of the car is 0. And we know the average velocity is defined as the total displacement, which is equal to 0 divided by time, that is 5 hours. So the answer is 0. But if I say what is the average speed? Average speed, if I say what is the average speed, so we can say average speed is the total distance travel. Total distance means the length of this path and length of this path. If I say this s is the distance travel, so the total distance travel during forward and backward journey is s plus s divided by 5, that is equal to 2s by 5. 2s by 5. If s is in kilometer, so it is kilometer per hour. So the answer is average velocity is 0, but average speed is not 0. The next question is, a car accelerates from rest. This is acceleration. This is velocity versus time graph. I have drawn already. This is velocity versus time graph. The accelerate from rest at constant rate alpha. So we can say the acceleration of the car for first second is alpha, and for some time after which it deaccelerates at constant rate beta. So this acceleration is a2, which is equal to minus beta. This is a1, and comes to rest. If the total time taken is t, so we can say from here to here this time is t. Then find the maximum velocity acquired by the car. So this is the maximum velocity. Let the maximum velocity acquired by the car is v0. So since the car starts from rest, so first O2, let this point be O, let this point be P, let this point be Q when the car is at rest. At P, the car acquires the maximum velocity. So from O to P, for O to P, we can say the final velocity V0 is equal to initial velocity 0 plus acceleration, that is alpha, into t1. So from here we can say t1 is equal to v naught by alpha. This is the first equation. Now from p to q, so from p to q, we can say the final velocity is 0, which is initial velocity, means v naught minus beta into t2. So from this expression we get t2 that is equal to v naught by beta. This is our second expression. We also know the total time which is given, that is t, which is equal to t1 plus t2. Now from this expression we can say t1 plus t2 is the total time which is given. So I can write t is equal to t1. T1 can be written as v naught by alpha and t2 can be written as v naught by beta. So solving this expression we get v naught, which is the maximum speed acquired by the car, that is alpha beta t divided by alpha plus beta. This is the maximum speed acquired by the car. So the answer, this is the maximum speed acquired by the car during entire motion. Now an athlete takes 2 seconds to reach his maximum speed 18 km per hour. Find his average acceleration. So if I say the time is given, the time is 2 seconds, the maximum speed is 18 into 5 by 18, that is equal to 5 meter per second. Now whenever the speed is given in kilometer per hour, we have to convert it in meter per second. For this conversion we can say speed in meter per second is equal to 5 by 18 into speed in kilometer per hour. So this is the conversion which we usually follow to convert the speed in meter per second when it is given in kilometer per hour. So the maximum speed acquired by the athlete is 5 meter per second in 2 seconds. So I can say its starting point v is equal to u plus a into t. By using this relation v is equal to u plus at, we can say the final velocity is 5, which is initial velocity, that is 0, plus acceleration. Acceleration means not known, let it be a, and time is 2 seconds. So from here we can say the acceleration of this athlete is 5 by 2, that is equal to 2.5 meter per second square. This is the average acceleration of the athlete. So this is the answer. A driver take 0.2 second to apply the brake after he see a need for it. This is called reaction time. This is also sometimes called response time of the driver. If he is driving a car at a speed of 54 km per hour and the brake causes a deceleration of 6 meter per second square, then we have to calculate the total distance traveled by the person by the car. See the need to put the brake on. So suppose this is the car. Suppose this is a car which is moving with some speed, that is equal to the speed of the car is given. It is equal to the speed of the car is 54 kilometer per hour. So that is also equal to 54 into 5 by 18 meter per second. So it comes out to be 15 meter per second. So the speed of the car initially is 15 meter per second. Now when the driver needs to apply the brake, so car will move with a constant speed of this for 0.2 second. So in this 0.2 second, this car travel the distance, that is equal to s1, which is 15 into 0.2 meter, that is equal to 3 meter. And after that he apply brake and finally the car comes to rest. Here the final velocity becomes 0. Let this distance be s2. So we can say for s2 the final velocity is 0, so it is 0 square is equal to u square means 15 square minus twice, and the retardation is given, it is 6 into s2. We are using directly v square is equal to u square plus twice as. So the final velocity of the car is 0, initial is 15 meter per second, acceleration is 6, and the displacement is s2. So from here I can say s2, that is equal to 15 into 15 divided by 2 into 6. So from here we can say it is 2 and this is 5. So it is 15 into 5 divided by 4. 75 by 4, which is equal to, so the total distance traveled by the car is, that is equal to 3 plus 19.2 meter. So the answer is approximately 22 meter. It is approximate answer. Now this is the first question of motion under constant acceleration. In this question, acceleration due to gravity is acting downward. A ball is dropped from a height. It takes 0.2 seconds to cross the last 6 minutes. Suppose the ball is dropped from, suppose this is a tower. Now from this tower a ball is dropped. Let the height of the tower be h. This ball starts falling downward, and during last second in this time t, that is equal to 0.2 second. In this 0.2 second it travel a distance of 6 meter. This is 6 meter. So this distance is h minus 6, and let the time here be t. So I can say h minus 6, that is equal to u. Here it is u is 0. So h minus 6 is half g means 10 into t square. Now for this complete distance we can say h is equal to half g means 10, and the total time of journey becomes t plus 0.2 square. These are the two equations in front of you. So if I substitute the value of h here, I will get, it is 5, this will become 5 t plus 0.2 square is equal to 6, bring this h6 here, plus 5 t square. Now from here 5 square this expression t plus 0.2, we get t square plus 0.4t plus 0.04, a square plus 2ab plus b square, that is equal to 6 plus 5 t square. Now from here I can say 5t square, if I open this bracket, plus 2t plus 0.2 is equal to 6 plus 5t square. So from here this 5t square and 5t square will vanish, and we get t, that is equal to 6 minus 0.2 divided by 2. So it is equal to 6 minus 0.2 is 5.8 divided by 2, which is equal to 2.9. So the total time, the time is 2.9. So I can say, if I substitute the value of t here, I will get h, that is equal to 6 plus 1 by 2 into 10 into t square. So the t is 2.9. So I will substitute it 2.9 square. So h comes out to be 6 plus 5 into 2.9 square. Now I will add it by this using this calculator. It is 6 plus 5 into 2.9 into 2.9, which is equal to 48. This is equal to 48 meter approximately. This is the height of the tower. Two balls are dropped from different height. This is height h1 and this is height h2. One ball is dropped 2 seconds after the first ball. If both ball reaches the ground simultaneously after 5 seconds of the dropping of the first ball, means the time of fall for the first ball is 5 seconds and time of fall for the second ball is 2 seconds less than the first ball, that is 3 seconds. So now we have to find the difference in initial height of the two ball, taking g is equal to 10 meter per second square. So we have to find the difference in height. Suppose the difference in height is this. This is the difference in height h. So I can say h1. h1, as we know, h1 is equal to ut plus half at square. We can use s is equal to ut plus half at square. So s is equal to ut plus half at square. Here we know u is 0, so this terms becomes 0. So we get s1 is h is 1 by 2, a means g 10 into t1 square. So it comes out to be 5 into this t1 is 5 square, that is 25, or that is equal to 125 meter. Now the second ball travel height h2. So h2 is equal to ut. Again for the second ball initial speed is 0 because it is dropped. So I can say h2 is equal to 1 by 2, g means 10 into t square means 3 square. So it is equal to 5 into 9, that is equal to 45 meter. So the difference in height h, that is equal to h1 minus h2, which is equal to 125 minus 45, that is equal to 80 meter. So this is the answer. Now the question is, a bird flies for 4 seconds with a speed given by v, that is equal to mod of t minus 2 meter per second in a straight line where t is in second. Find the total distance traveled by the bird in first 4 seconds. So this is a graph which shows graph. This is the speed versus, let it be speed versus time graph. So this area, this time is 2 seconds because the velocity becomes 0 at t is equal to 2 seconds. So as we know, the distance is integration of v dt. This v represents the speed. So integration of v dt means if v is on y axis and time is on x axis, so v dt simply represents the area. So to calculate the distance we have to calculate the area. We can say the area of this two triangle can very easily be calculated by using trigonometric relation. We know at t is equal to 0 the velocity of the bird is 2, and at t is equal to 2 seconds, this time is 2 seconds, the velocity of the bird becomes 0, and at this instant the speed is again 2. So I can say the area is half into base means this length, that is 2, multiplied by the height, that is 2, which is equal to 2 meter. So this area is 2 and this area is also 2, so the total area is 4. So this is the total distance traveled by the bird. The question is, if a particle takes t seconds less and acquires a velocity v meter per second more in falling through the same distance on two planets where the acceleration due to gravity are g1 and g2. Suppose this is a planet of height, this height is h, this height is also h. The particle travels same distance, means these two height are equal. This is h, this is also h. Let the time taken, the acceleration here is g1, the acceleration here is g2. Let the time of fall be t1, let the time of fall be t2. Let the speed with which it strike on ground is V1, let it be V2. Now, as it is given the two heights are same and the initial speed of both are 0. So U here is 0, U here is also 0. Now, we can say H is equal to half into G into T1 square, and H is also equal to half G2 into T2 square. T1 and T2 is the time of fall on the two planets where acceleration is G1 and G2. Let's assume that G1 is greater than G2. Let's assume that G1 is greater than G2. Now H1, and we can also say V1 square is equal to 0 square plus twice G1 into H, and V2 square is also equal to 0 square plus 2G2 into H. So from here we can say V1 is equal to root over 2G1 into H, and V2 is equal to root over 2G2 into H. Now it is given that the particle acquire V speed more. So if G1 is greater than G2, so V1 minus V2 is equal to V. If the speed is more, if the acceleration is more, so while falling the same distance, this particle acquire more speed while this particle acquire less speed. So V1 minus V2 is V. This is the difference which is given. If G is more, so T1 is less, so it is also given that T2 minus T1. It will fall slowly, so it will take more time, is equal to T. Now we have to find the ratio of V by T. V by T means it is V1 minus V2 divided by T1 minus T2 minus T1, which is equal to V1. From here I can say V1 is equal to root over 2G1 into H, minus V2 means root over 2G2 into H, divided by T2 minus T1. From here, from first expression we can say T1 is equal to root over 2H by G1, and T2 means it is G1, and T2 means T1 means root over, sorry, it is T2 means 2H by G2, and T1 means 2H by G1. Solving this, we get V by T. We get V by T, which is equal to this 2H will vanish. We get root over G1 into G2. So this is the answer. Next question is, a body falling from a high tower would travel 40 meter in last 2 seconds. So this distance is 40 meter and the time is 2 seconds. Find the height of the tower. Take G is equal to, we don't know the height. We know in last 2 seconds it traveled 40 meter. Let the height of the tower be T. So this height become H minus 40, and let this time be T1. Now we can say the acceleration due to gravity here is 10 meter per second square. So we can say H is equal to half G into the total time of fall, that is T1 plus 2 second square, because initial velocity is 0, because the body is dropped from with the initial speed 0. In the next part, we know H minus 40, that is the displacement in T1 second vertically downward, so it is also equal to half G into T1 square. Now from these two expressions we get, if I substitute the value of H here, I will get 5, G by 2 means 5 into T1 plus 2 square, T, it is minus 40, is equal to 5 t1 square. Now if I open this 2, I get 5t1 square plus 20t1 plus 20 minus 40 is equal to 5t1 square. So this 5t1 square and this 5t1 square will cancel out. We got t1 is equal to 40 minus 20, that is 20, divided by 20. So it comes out to be 1 second. So t1 is 1 second. Now we can say if t1 is 1, this is equal to 1 second. So the total time of fall is 3 seconds. So you can say now h is equal to, I will substitute the value of t1 here, I get half gt square means 5 into 3 square, that is equal to 5 into 9, that is equal to 45 meter. So this is the answer. This is a very good question. A ball is dropped from top of a tower 100 meter. This tower, the length of the tower is 100 meter. Now these are two balls. This is first ball, this is second ball. It is thrown upward with a speed of 50 meter per second. And this ball is dropped. Drop means initial speed is 0. So both balls are thrown and dropped simultaneously at the same instant. So we can say, suppose the two balls meet at this point P. So at P, this ball falls a distance, let it be h1. This balls move a distance h2. Now we can say h1 plus h2, that is equal to 100. Now h1 is half, g means 10 into t1 square, and h2 is ut, ut means 50 into t2 minus half, g means 10 into t2 square, that is equal to 100. Now this is the condition. We can also say h1 is this, h2 is this, and we can also say that t1 and t2, since these two balls are dropped and thrown, so they meet, so it means t1 must be equal to t2. So if I equate this t1 and t2, these two terms will cancel out and we get t, that is equal to 2 seconds. So after 2 seconds these two balls will meet. A ball is dropped downward. After 1 second another ball is dropped downward from the same point. What is the distance between the two balls after 3 seconds? Now suppose two balls are dropped from a big tower. Suppose this is a tower. From here we drop the first ball. This is the first ball. Let the first ball is here. At any instant the first ball is here. And 1 second after means the second ball is here. The time difference between these two balls is only 1 second. We have to calculate the distance between them after 3 seconds. Means this ball is in motion, the first ball is in motion for 3 seconds. So this is t1, which is equal to 3 seconds. And the second ball is in motion only for 1 second less, that is 2 seconds. Since the balls are dropped, so their initial speed must be 0. We know the acceleration due to gravity is 10 and directed downward. Since the displacement of these two balls is also downward, let the first ball is at distance h1 from the top and the second ball is at distance h2 from the top. So we can say h1, because this is also downward, g is also downward, so it is h1 half into g means 10 into 3 square, whereas h2, that is equal to half into g means 10 and time is 2 square. Solving it, it comes out to be 45 meter and this is 20 meter. So the separation h1 minus h2, h1 minus h2 is the separation between these two balls, which is equal to 45 minus 20, that is equal to 25 meter. This is the separation between the two balls, which is written here. Now the two balls are thrown simultaneously from a tower. with same initial speed v naught. One vertically upward and the other downward. Find the distance between the two balls after t second. This is the first ball which is thrown upward, and this is the second ball which is thrown downward. So the displacement of the first ball S1. S1 is ut means v naught into t, because v naught we are assuming this upward direction as positive. This is x axis, y axis. V naught j cap ut plus half means half. G is directed downward, so G will act vertically downward. It is minus G j cap into t square. This is t square. This is the first expression. In the same way, the displacement of the second ball is also equal to, it is minus v naught into t j cap, because second ball is thrown vertically downward, minus 1 by 2 g j cap into t square. This is the displacement of the second ball. Now as we can say, the first ball is somewhat here. See, the first ball is here. This is S1, and the second ball is here. This is S2. So we can say the separation between the two ball is mod of S1 minus S2. This is the separation between the two ball. Now this comes out to be this. If I subtract this, we get this is 2 v naught t j cap modulus of this, because this two term will cancel out. So we get this is 2 v naught into t. This is the separation between the two ball after time t. So this is your answer. See this question. A ball is kicked vertically upward from the ground. This person throws this ball vertically upward from the ground. A student gazing out a window as it moves upward past her at 10 meters per second. This is a student. This ball is thrown from ground. This is the position from where the ball is thrown. This is a student who is standing here. This ball passed it with a speed of 10 meters per second. The window is 15 meters above the ground. So this height is 15 meters. This height. The air resistance is neglected. We have to calculate how high does the ball go above the ground. So at this instant the speed of the ball is 10 meters. So let's assume that the ball is moving upward for some time. Here the ball will stop. So final velocity becomes 0. Let this height be h dash. The height above the window where the ball stops for the first time. Let this be point where the ball stops. So we can say 0 square is equal to 10 square minus, because acceleration is directed downward. So it is v square u square minus twice a means 10, and the displacement is h dash. So from where we get h dash, that is equal to 10 square means 100 divided by 20, that is equal to 5 meter. So the total height of this ball from the ground means this height, that is equal to 20 meter. This is 20 meter. This is the first part. Now how much time does it take to go from the ground to the highest point? Now we have to calculate the time taken by the ball to reach from ground to highest point. Let this time be t. So we can say the final velocity is 0 and the initial velocity is not known. So it is v square, v naught square minus 2 g means 10 into the total height of the tower is 20. So v naught comes out to be 20 meter per second. So this ball is projected with a speed of 20 meter per second from here, and we can calculate the final velocity here is 0. So by using the relation v is equal to u plus at, we can say the final velocity is 0. Initial velocity means this is your initial velocity v naught. It is 20. A means minus 10 into t. So solving it we get t, that is equal to 2 seconds. So the ball take 2 seconds to reach from ground to the highest point. A particle is projected with speed v naught along x-axis. The d-acceleration of the particle is proportional to square of the distance from the origin. This expression. Find the distance at which the particle stops. Now let's assume the particle is projected along x-axis with some speed v0. This is the first question of variable acceleration. Now we know a, that is equal to dv by dt, the rate of change of velocity. Here the motion in one dimension, so it is also equal to rate of change of speed, that is equal to minus alpha into x square. It is given. Now from here we can say dv by dt multiplied by, I can write here dx by dx is equal to minus alpha into x square. Now dv by dt, in place of this I can write dv by dx multiplied by dx by dt, that is equal to minus alpha x square. Now dv by dx by dt can be written as v at an instant, that is equal to minus alpha x square. Now from this expression I can say when the particle comes to rest, let this velocity be 0 here, let this distance be x naught. So now we can say v dv is equal to minus alpha x square dx. Now I will integrate it. When x is 0, the speed is v naught. When x is x naught, this is the maximum distance traveled by the particle before stopping, the final velocity becomes 0. So from here we get minus v naught square by 2, that is equal to minus alpha x naught cube by 3. Because we know integration of v dv is v square by 2 and integration of x square dx is x cube by 3. So this minus minus will cancel out. We get x naught is equal to 3 v naught square by 2 alpha whole to the power 1 by 3. So this is the final answer. Question is, a ball is dropped from top of a tower of height h. Let the height of the tower be h. It covered h by 2 distance during the last second. This height is h by 2. This time is 1 second and this time is t minus 1 second. We are assuming the total time is t. So this height is also h by 2, which is given in the expression. How long the ball is in air? We have to calculate this time. So now I can say, let's assume the acceleration due to gravity is g. Since the ball is dropped, so its initial speed is 0. So now using the relation s is equal to ut plus half a t square, I can say s means h by 2 for first half is equal to ut means 0 plus 1 by 2, that is a means g, it is minus g into t minus 1 square. Because if I take g as negative, so this h by 2 is also negative. So I have to substitute here. For example, this is also negative, this is also negative, so this 2 will cancel out. We get h by 2 is equal to half g t minus 1 square. Now from here we can say for the total height h is also equal to half g into t square. This is your second expression, this is your first expression. Now from here, from these two expression, I can say this 2 will cancel out. Now we can say h is equal to g t minus 1 square, that is also equal to half g t square. So this g will cancel out from these two expression 1 and 2, g will cancel out, we get root 2 t minus 1, that is equal to t. So it is equal to root 2 t minus root 2 is equal to t. It may be, because I have, this may be positive or negative. T can never be negative, so I have substituted because I have taken the root. So this is equal to t is equal to root 2 divided by root 2 minus 1. So from here I can say t is root 2 by root 2 minus 1. I can multiply and divide this expression by, this is equal to root 2 by root 2 minus 1 multiplied by, it is root 2 plus 1 divided by root 2 plus 1. So as we know, a minus b into a plus b is a square minus b square. So this t comes out to be root 2 into root 2 plus 1 divided by 2 square minus root 2 square minus 1 is 1. So this answer is, it is equal to 2 plus root 2 second. The velocity of a train increases at constant rate f1 from 0 to v. Then it remains constant for an interval and finally decreases to 0 at a constant rate f2. If the total distance described by the train is x, then we have to prove that the total time taken is x by v plus v by 2 bracket 1 by f1 plus 1 by f2. Now, this is the velocity and this is the total distance traveled by the train. It is given, this speed is v, it increases with a constant rate f1, it decreases to 0 with a constant rate f2, final velocity here is 0. For some interval it moves with speed v. Let this distance be x1, let this be x2, let this be x3. Let this time be t1, let this time be t3 and let this time be t2. Now let this point be O, here the speed is 0, let this point be P, let this point be Q, let this point be R. So from O to P or O to P, the train moves with a constant acceleration. Its speed is 0, initial speed is 0, final speed is v, acceleration is equal to f1, distance is equal to x1, time is t1. So we can say final velocity v is equal to 0 plus f1 into t1, or t1 is equal to v by f1. Also x1 is equal to ut, u means 0 plus 1 by 2, a means f1 into t1 square. We can also say v square is equal to 0 square plus twice f1 into x1. So from here I can say x1 by v is equal to v by 2 f1. From this expression I can say v by x by v1 is v by 2 f1. This is our second expression. For q to r, the final velocity is 0, initial velocity is v, the acceleration is minus f2, the time is t2. So we can say 0, v is equal to u plus t, I am using here. 0 is equal to u means v minus f2 into t2. In the same way, I can say x square, x2 square, x2 is equal to ut, u means v into t2 minus 1 by 2, a means f2 into t2 square. Now I can substitute the value of v, means v is equal to f2 into t2 here. In this expression I will get x2 as 1 by 2 f2 into t2 square. Also the final velocity means 0 square is equal to v square minus 2 f2 into x2. So from here I can say x2 by v, that is equal to v by 2 f2. This distance is x1, this is x3, this is x2. Now it is given that x1 plus x2 plus x3 is equal to x. I know x1 plus x2 plus x3 is x. So from here I can say x3 is equal to x minus x1 minus x2. Now T2, T3 we can say this T3 is the time when the train move with a constant speed v. So we can say T3 that is equal to x3 by v, because the train is moving with a constant speed, which is equal to, I will substitute it here, x by v minus x1 by v minus x2 by v. So T3 comes out to be x by v minus x1 by v. So from here, from our previous expression, we know x1 by v is v by 2 1. So I will substitute x1 by v can be written as v by 2f1. So it is v by 2f1 plus x2 by v. x2 by v can be written as v by 2f2. Now the total time of journey. Now we can say total time of journey, that is t, which is equal to t1 plus t2 plus t3. Now I know the value of t1 from the previous expression. I can say t1 is equal to v by f1. From here I can write t1 is v by f1. t1 is equal to v by f1. t2 is also equal to, from here I can say t2 is equal to v by f2. So it is v by f2, whereas t3 is equal to this, it is x by v minus v by 2f1 minus v by 2f2. So finally we get the total time of journey as x by v plus v by 2 into 1 by f1 plus 1 by f2. So this is our answer. If A, B, C be the distance described by a particle during pth, qth and rth second of its motion respectively, then prove that this one. Let's assume the distance travel in, we know distance travel in nth second, that is equal to u plus a by 2 into 2n minus 1. So distance travel in pth second is a, so a is equal to u plus acceleration by 2 into 2p minus 1. This is the first expression. In the same way, we can say b is the distance travel in qth second, so this is equal to u plus a by 2 into 2q minus 1. This is our second equation. In the same way, c is the distance travel during rth second, so I can write c is equal to u plus a by 2 into 2r minus 1. This is our third expression. If I subtract the second expression minus third one, this is second expression minus third one, then we get second minus third, it is b minus c, that is equal to u will cancel out, a by 2 into 2q minus 2r, which is equal to a into q minus r. In the same way, if I subtract r minus p, so r minus p means we have to subtract third minus first. we get, if we subtract first one from third one, we get c minus b, c minus a is equal to 0, a into r minus b. It is r minus b. If I subtract for p minus q, if I subtract first minus second, then I get a minus b is equal to a into p minus q. Let this expression be first, fourth, let this expression be fifth, let this expression be sixth. Now multiply this fourth expression with a plus fifth expression with b and sixth expression with c, then we finally get 0. This is proof. Means we have to multiply this expression by a, we have to multiply this expression by b, we have to multiply this expression by c, and if we add this 3, then we get 0. Now the law of motion of a body moving along a straight line is given by x, which is equal to 1 by 2 v into t. X being the distance from a fixed point on a line and t is the time, v is the velocity, then we have to prove that the body is moving with a constant acceleration. So as we know, x is equal to, I can write this as 1 by 2, v can be written as dx by dt multiplied by t. So or this can be written as dx by x is equal to 2 times dt by t. If I integrate it, then we get ln of x is equal to 2 times ln of t plus some constant c, or this can be written as ln of x is equal to ln of t square, because we know 2 ln t can be written as ln of t square, plus let this constant be ln of k. This k is a constant, so ln of constant is again a new constant. So from here we can say ln of x is equal to ln of k, means this constant, into t square, or x is equal to k into t square. Now if I differentiate x, I will get the velocity, so it is vx, which is equal to 2k t. Now if I again differentiate it, dv by dt, it will give me acceleration, and that is equal to 2k. And as we know, this k is constant, means this acceleration is also constant. So hence it is